Coming to you from the Hudson Media Group studio, this is Talking Politics, and I am the generational talent in Garden State media, and certainly the hero you need right now, ladies and gentlemen, because as we all know, the establishment media here in New Jersey continues to lie to you every single day, but guess who won't? That's right, me, Fernando Uribe. I hope you're having a wonderful start to the month of June. Certainly my least favorite month of the year, and well, I'm sure you probably know why, but of course, as always, there's a lot to discuss, so let's get started. Here's what I'm thinking about right now. Now, folks, I have to tell you, this past Sunday, June the 1st, it was great to look at the image of the White House on all of our sort of cable news channels, right? Of course, there was no pride flags, no topless transvestites, no TikTokers dressed in drag, no twerking Easter bunnies, and no kids being sniffed, as well as no cocaine scandals in the White House. So certainly a welcome change from where we were on June the 1st in 2024. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, as we all know, it's Pride Month. Yes, it's arguably the 30 longest days of the year for me, because it just seems like there's always this sort of like coddling of the never-ending alphabet mob. And, you know, despite the fact that 40% of the calendar is dedicated to them, that's still not enough. I mean, they bitch and moan more than some of my ex-girlfriends. And trust me, I've dated some really insufferable women. So trust me, if they can beat my ex-girlfriends, that should just tell you exactly the level of insufferable that we're dealing with here. But folks, again, it just sort of lends itself to a bigger question. Why do we continue with this nonsense? Okay. Now, of course, you know, obviously, when we talk about the month of June, you know, we think about, for example, Veterans Day. And that's a day that obviously we take seriously because we want to honor all of the brave men and women who have served in all of our armed forces. And it's a shame that they only get like really one day out of the year. They should get like a whole month. And have we forgotten that June is really Men's Mental Health Month, and that was established a long time ago, but it seems to have gone, maybe even overlooked or even swept under the rug, again, to coddle the never-ending alphabet mob. And just to give you a perspective of how insane it has gotten here when it comes to the LGBTQ plus minus multiplication sign division. Folks, this is the level of insanity we're getting to. And no, I'm not trying to be funny, I'm just being factual. When you look at the acronym, I mean, really? I mean, do you need more letters out of the alphabet? I mean, we might start running out of them, right? But of course, you know, when we think about the calendar year, for example, you know, we think about February 19th to the 25th, and that's Aromantic Spectrum Awareness Week. What the F does that mean? I mean, can someone explain this, please? Then, of course, March 21st and March 25th is LGBTQIA plus Health Awareness Week, as if we need a week to promote health awareness for anybody? Really? Okay. Now, of course, March 31st is Transgender Day of Visibility. Okay, more on that later. Then, of course, April 6th, we have International Asexuality Day. So basically, we're going to sit here and honor people who are asexual and have no desire to have sexual intercourse of any kind. I mean, I feel bad for these people. Well, we have to give them a day to sort of, you know, I don't know, magnify them and sort of remind them of how, I don't know, weird they are. I mean, that's kind of, I don't know, it doesn't seem to be, folks, it doesn't seem to be very sensible, okay? For example, April 13th, the International Day of Pink, the day opposing homophobia. I mean, folks, we should oppose homophobia every day. I mean, I don't think it requires a day, you know, settled in the calendar, but hey, you know. April 14th is Day of Silence. Okay, I mean, fine. I mean, I'll concede that one. April 26th is Lesbian Visibility Day. Really? Do we need a day to know where lesbians are visible? Folks, I know where to find them. I'm pretty sure that I can find places where they're highly visible. So the idea we have to have a day to highlight Lesbian Visibility Day, I mean, just seems, again, folks, overkill. For example, May 17th, of course, and this doesn't even sit well with me since it's actually my actual birthday. But of course, May 17th is the International Day Against Homophobia, Biphobia, and Transphobia. Folks, the idea that we have to have a day to stress the importance of, you know, making sure that we're, you know, against homophobia. I've never even heard of biphobia. I mean, really? Like, phobia, folks, are things that we're afraid of. I've never heard of anyone being afraid of bisexual people, but go figure. Or transphobia. Interesting. May 19th is Agender Pride Day. Can someone please tell me what this means? Really? Then we have May 22nd, which is Harvey Milk Day. Well, folks, if you do a little digging on Harvey Milk, that's not exactly a guy I would want to glorify. But, you know, again, do your homework, as have I, and I think you'll see what I mean. Then May the 25th, right around Memorial Day weekend, obviously, is Pansexual and Panromantic Awareness Day. What the F are we doing here, folks? Really? We need a day to dedicate to these people? Really? Now, here's a good one. Of course, the entire month of June is Pride Month, of course. And then June 23rd is Stonewall Day. All right, I'll concede that one. That's a significant day, and that's important. I don't disagree with that premise. Now, we just had Transgender Day of Visibility in March, but somehow on June the 28th is International LGBTQ Plus Day. So, again, folks, it almost seems like overkill here, but you know what I'm getting at, right? Of course, July 14th is International Non-Binary People Day. Ay, Dios mío, really? I mean, is this what we're doing in July? For example, here's a good one. July 16th is International Drag Day. No, folks, I don't know about you, and again, I remember talking about this with Christian Fiscarino, the executive director of Garden State Equality, where, yes, sort of like the rationalization of like, well, why are you so opposed to drag people, Fernando? Or why do you take such offense when you see drag people dressed in drag around children? Well, because obviously we grew up watching Bugs Bunny, and when Bugs Bunny was dressed in drag, well, we all thought that was funny, and we didn't think twice of it. No, folks, that's the problem. When you're trying to rationalize something like International Drag Day or just drag in general, it's just not normal. It's not something we should be encouraging. Maybe it's funny, sure. And listen, I'm not going to be a hypocrite and tell you I didn't laugh when Bugs Bunny did it. Yeah, I love Bugs Bunny. I still watch Bugs Bunny. But as a grown adult now, I understand that obviously dressing in drag isn't normal. It's not something we should be sort of normalizing. But I mean, again, God forbid I use some common sense here. Then from September 16th, what a shock, there's no days in August. Holy shit. Then, of course, in September, we have from the 16th to the 23rd is Bisexual Awareness Week. Okay, I mean, really? We need a week to be aware that bisexual people exist? I mean, for any of us that have had threesomes, I think we know about that. So, yes, if you need a whole week about that, I mean, have at it, I guess. Here's a good one. September 23rd, obviously, at the end of Bisexual Awareness Week, let's celebrate Bisexuality Day. I mean, folks, again, if you're lucky enough to have a threesome with, let's say 2 women, I mean, if you're a guy, hey, God bless you. That's great. Not sure if we need a day to acknowledge that specifically. And then, of course, the entire month of October is LGBT History Month. Yes, we need a whole month to teach history about grown men playing make-believe and dressing up and pretending to be something that they're not. When, again, men have XY chromosomes, not XX chromosomes. So no amount of, again, surgeries, no amount of make-believe, no amount of dress-up is going to, hide the fact that you're still going to need a colonoscopy at some point. And at the end of the day, you're not a person with a vagina or a uterus, which makes you a woman. But again, go figure. Then, of course, October is International Lesbian Day. So we have Lesbian Visibility Day in April, but then in October, we need an International Lesbian Day. I mean, Dios mío, folks, really? It's like saying, well, you know what? Hey, I think we should just have Blueberry Appreciation Day. And then 2 months later, then, we should just maybe, I don't know, appreciate the blueberry. Do you see what I'm saying, folks? I mean, it's this level of overkill and just, I don't get it, folks. And maybe because I'm very grammatical and maybe because I'm very analytical, right? And linguistics matter to me. But this sort of overkill and semantics is what turns people off to this ridiculous nonsense every year. Here's another one here. National Coming Out Day. But wait a minute. If I'm not mistaken, isn't that why we have LGBTIQ plus IAI Health Awareness Week in March? Isn't that why we have a day of silence, right? I mean, obviously, you want to honor those that came out, obviously. And you have all of Pride Month. So we have to rehash this again in October, right around Columbus Day. Okay. And then October 17th to 24th is Gender Fluid Visibility Week. So we need a whole week to understand people that think that they're gender fluid. Again, folks, make it make sense. Okay. And then, of course, here's a good one. October 19th, International Pronoun Day. Yes, because what we need is to corrupt and embellish linguistics and grammar. Folks, here's a newsflash. Okay. And for any of you that ever watched The Matrix, one of my favorite trilogies, whenever you watch The Matrix Reloaded, remember when Agent Smith was able to copy himself and there was a whole bunch of Agent Smiths out there? Yes, because he became plural. So when someone comes at you and says, well, no, my pronouns are they, them. Really? Have you copied yourself? Are there multiple versions of you somewhere? They, them infers plurality, folks. That's what it infers. So the idea that somehow we're just going to corrupt language and linguistics because, again, we have to sort of acquiesce to some sort of bullshit social construct. Folks, again, as an academic, this pisses me off because, yes, I am analytical. And yes, because I do take things very literally. Okay? And when I see bullshit like this, it's like I have to call it out. There's no they, them. There's nothing like that. The idea that we have to coddle this nonsense is, again, why regular, everyday people, they're not even politically engaged, get just nauseous with this woke bullshit. But let me continue. Okay? Then we have Spirit Day, support for LGBTQIA youth. Okay? So Health Awareness Week doesn't accomplish that? Okay. So, like, I don't know. International Day of Pink doesn't suffice? Or International Day Against Homophobia, Biphobia, and Transphobia? Of all days, my birthday, May 17th, for God's sakes. Okay, like, really? Like, that doesn't suffice? Like, we need more, right? Okay. Let's see what else here. Oh, Asexual Awareness Week. So we need a whole week, folks. Again, it's not just enough to have Asexual Awareness Day. I'm sorry, International Asexual Awareness Day, on April 6th. So in October, what we're basically doing is highlighting people who don't like to have sex. I'm sorry, that's having sex and fornicating, folks, is one of the healthiest things we can do. Okay? It releases, endorphins. It's great. Burns calories. It's good cardio. Like, why exactly are we glorifying people that don't want to fornicate? Can someone explain this to me, please? Like, why are we giving these people a whole week? It's madness. And then, of course, we have the whole month of November, as if October wasn't enough. Then it's Trans Awareness Month. So not just do we have LGBT History Months, we have to learn about trans, people playing dress up at make-believe. But now in November, it's Trans Awareness Month. Oh, that's great. November 5th, Transparent Day. Well, I mean, isn't that kind of interesting? Transparency, right? Like, when I think of the word Transparent Day, wow. If there's anything that goes against the actual essence of what transparency is, it's this day. Because you're playing make-believe. Because you're playing dress up in something that you just are not. So to call it Transparent Day, kind of interesting though when you think about the way it's spelled, right? And then of course we have November 8th, Intersex Day of Remembrance. Coño, bro. Like, really, ¿qué es esto? What is this? Really? And then of course November 13th to the 19th, of course, is Transgender Awareness Week. As if we don't have Transgender Day of Visibility in March. As if we don't have, let me see here, the entire month of June. I mean, folks. And then of course, November 20th is Transgender Day of Remembrance. Folks, you get what I'm saying. It's this level of woke bullshit that people are just, they're done with. And by the way, for any of you that are sports fans like myself, I mean, obviously, we all know that a lot of sports leagues get into the whole pride trend, like a lot of companies do. Thankfully, though, this year, you've noticed that less and less companies are participating in all this woke bullshit. But if there was ever a day that I was, and again, trust me, and I've been suffering for going on 30 years now since the Dallas Cowboys have last won a Super Bowl. But interesting to see that 12 teams did not post any LGBTQ Pride Month messages on their social media. That include the New York Jets, the Baltimore Ravens, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Cleveland Browns, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Indianapolis Colts, the Tennessee Titans, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Las Vegas Raiders, the Seattle Seahawks, the New Orleans Saints, and last but not least, and thank the Lord, folks, my Dallas Cowboys. So if there's ever a day I'm ever prouder of being a fan of America's team, of the Dallas Cowboys, it's this month for not acquiescing to this woke bullshit. And God bless the Texas Rangers, the only team in MLB to also not acquiesce to this woke bullshit as well. Folks, people are tired of it. You can respect people, and you can honor them, and you can respect them without having to coddle them. Okay? The two things can be mutually exclusive of each other. We can respect people, but this overkill, these semantics that we're seeing now, with 145 days in a calendar year dedicated, and mind you, again, here's a spoiler alert, that's still not going to suffice. Ellos todavía van a estar con el tiki-tiki, tiki-tiki, tiki-tiki. They're still going to be bitching and moaning. Again, folks, I have ex-girlfriends that don't bitch and moan as much. They come close, trust me. I've dated some insufferable women. Trust me. Insufferable Karens and cat ladies in my adult life. But they don't even come close to this. But again, folks, that's the moral of the story here. Yes, it's the 30th longest days of the year for me. But again, here's the lesson to be learned. You can still respect people. All I'm asking for is, like, don't have this nonsense shoved down my throat. I don't need to be reminded every waking minute. Like, do I need to remind people that I'm straight? Folks, there's a lot of reasons to hate Fernando Uribe, but being straight isn't one of them. And I get it. I'm never going to understand that level of bigotry and hatred. I get that. But folks, there's, just like I don't walk around with obnoxious and ridiculous PDA with my significant other or whatever woman I'm dating at the moment. Yeah, those public displays of affection. It's because I know there's a time and place for everything. So I'm not going to be sticking my tongue down a woman's throat just in public just because I feel like it. No, I have something that's called decorum. I have something that's called, I don't know, poise and self-control. So I'll practice that. Can some of you? I don't know, maybe. But again, folks, we can still respect people and acknowledge them without this being shoved down our throats. Two things can be true at the same time. We might want to get going with that message now more than ever. And that's what I'm thinking about right now. Now, some local stories for your consideration. And folks, this is even transcends local news. It's a national issue. But do me a favor, after you're done watching this episode, check in with your Jewish friends, because it's a scary time to be Jewish right now in the United States. Take your pick, folks. Whether it's everything that's gone on after October the 7th, 2023, with all the jihadists on college campuses destroying campus property, disrupting graduations, harassing people in restaurants, and in some cases, killing staff members at embassies, right? It's a scary time to be Jewish, folks. It really, really is. And by the way, I'm the only journalist in New Jersey media that stands up for Jewish people in the state, that stands up for Jewish students and faculty members and just people in general. Unlike my colleagues in the field, in the establishment media, they don't care. Because guess what? Whether it's David Cruz, Max Pizarro, Jay Lassiter, okay? And I know it's hard, if you ever Google Jay Lassiter, it's kind of hard, to see a picture of Jay Lassiter because, whether he has a bong or he always has something in his mouth. But then again, when doesn't Jay Lassiter have something in his mouth? I mean, that's a story for another day. Or Bob Hennelly or Alan Steinberg or John Van Vliet, okay? Or Tom Moran. Folks, take your pick in New Jersey media. They'll continue on with their Trump derangement syndrome and their identitarian politics and, oh my God, the dangers of toxic masculinity. Folks, all the guys I just named are the least masculine men in New Jersey media. They're all women. They just are. They're women. Some I've actually said this to them in person, which obviously doesn't endear myself to them, but I'm not really interested in doing that. But again, in a time when journalists should be reporting on this more often, should be writing about this. No, again, here in New Jersey, take your pick, whether it's NJ Spotlight News, Insider NJ, NorthJersey.com, NJ.com, Political New Jersey. Again, they'll continue with the Trump derangement syndrome. And by the way, folks, have you checked the market lately? I do, every day. I'm not sure how your IRA is doing. They're doing fine. See the cost of eggs? Yeah, they've gone down 60% since February 1st. Seen the cost of gas prices? Yes, because the cost of crude oil has gone down. And we're producing more oil and drilling domestically. Therefore, we don't have to import oil. So guess what? The economy has picked up. The market remains strong. But none of that matters. Because again, when it comes to the establishment media, it's all about their Trump derangement syndrome or identity politics or about pronouns and making sure you have them in your email signature because, we got to show how woke we are. Folks, all this woke bullshit doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything. And it seems like the American left, Democrats and journalists haven't gotten the memo since November the 4th. And especially when it comes to standing up for Jewish people. What are we seeing, folks, again? Every day. We're seeing, I don't know, over the weekend, did we see a man that was screaming and lighting Jewish people on fire and screaming Free Palestine? Or the man that assassinated a couple in Washington, D.C. right outside an embassy? Or harassing Jewish students and faculty members at NYU, Columbia, USC, UCLA, Rutgers, Rowan University down in South Jersey, Barnard, the New School. Folks, take your pick. It's a dangerous time to be Jewish in the United States. But don't tell that to the establishment media, nationally or even here in New Jersey. The guy the other day who lit Jewish people on fire. Oh, that's a white male, according to MSNBC and CNN. No, folks, it is a Muslim man. Because it doesn't fit the narrative. Let's just keep vilifying white people instead of actually calling suspects what they are. All right? Folks, the Free Palestine movement has just become so corrupted now. So basically what we have on college campuses and activism and take your pick are a bunch of people coddling jihadists and Islamists on our college campuses, in our public square, on our colleges and universities. in pop culture and in media. You should be ashamed of yourselves. But again, when you're a lone crusader, having to stand up for what's right, that's not always easy. But then again, when the sample size are clowns and useless humans like David Cruz, Tom Moran, Max Bizzarro, Jay Lasseter, John Van Vliet, Alan Steinberg, Bob Hennelly, Matt Friedman, and others, it's kind of easy to stand out. And again, now more than ever, that's why I'm the hero you need right now. Folks, early voting has begun here in Hudson County, obviously in Hudson County's largest municipality in Jersey City. And again, a special thank you to Steve Lennox and Al Sullivan from Tap Into Jersey City for their reporting on this story. But certainly, early voting has begun and will continue through the rest of this week, well into the weekend. And of course, from 10 a.m. until 8 p.m. and of course, on the weekends from 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. Here's some important early voting polling locations in Jersey City. The Hank Gallo Community Center, which is located at 175 Lincoln Park, as well as Hudson County Plaza, which is located at 257 Cornelison Avenue. Again, one of the bigger county buildings. As well as the Jersey City Hall Annex, which is located on 4 Jackson Square on 39 Kearney Avenue, as well as the Jersey City Town Hall, which is located at 280 Grove Street, between Montgomery Street, of course. The Order of the Moose Lodge, 266, which is located at 60 West Side Avenue, as well as the Pershing Field Community Center, which is located at 816 Summit Avenue. Now, registered voters who have declared a party affiliation are eligible to cast ballots for the party's candidates, while unaffiliated voters can vote for candidates from either party, and by doing so will declare their affiliation with that party. For early voting only, voters registered in Jersey City can cast their ballots at any of the Jersey City locations or any of the additional sites throughout Hudson County. On Election Day, June the 10th, however, voters must cast their ballot at their assigned polling location. In addition, ladies and gentlemen, in the city of Union City, we have these available locations. And once again, from June the 3rd until June the 8th, and of course, Tuesdays, of course, and of course on Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m., and of course Sunday 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., again, early voting is available in Union City at the following locations. At 610 New York Avenue, there's a mobile trailer there. There'll also be the 1001-1003 Summit Avenue mobile trailer. In addition to 1601 New York Avenue, mobile trailer will be available as well. Also, there's a mobile trailer on 1800 Summit Avenue, as well as 2601 Central Avenue. In addition, there'll be mobile trailers on 27th Street and 28th Street alongside New York Avenue. In addition to 34th Street and New York Avenue. 3715 Union City Town Hall will also have a mobile trailer available outside. In addition to Bergen Line Avenue on 43rd Street and on 47th Street. So folks, get involved with the process. And again, don't take the right to vote for granted. You have choices, especially here in Hudson County. In the 33rd Legislative District, you have incumbent Assemblyman Gabriel Rodriguez and his running mate, challenger Larry Weinstein. As we all know, folks, whether it's slumlord Tony Hector or the walking mummy Frank Alonso, well, folks, I think we've seen enough ads to know that they're not the right choice on June the 10th. As we all know, Tony Hector wants to abolish rent control while he keeps his buildings in absolute horrible shape. Yes, folks, the typical rich guy that lives in Alpine, New Jersey, arguably the wealthiest community in the entire state of New Jersey, wants to make sure that you don't have access to rent control. Or Frank Alonso, a lifelong Hudson County employee making 6 figures who, let's be honest, whenever they're filming ads, it has to be after 9, it really has to be before 9 a.m. Because we all know at 9:01 a.m., he's fast asleep. Folks, those are the candidates that somehow Stephen Fulop and Nick Sacco want you to think are viable candidates. They're not. On June the 10th, you have options. Certainly, in the 30th Legislative District, you have Gabriel Rodriguez and Larry Weinstein. And in the 32nd Legislative District, for example, you have Crystal Fonseca, a good friend of mine, fellow Yankee fan, and a very admirable young woman who's been through a lot. And if you've read about Crystal's life story, you'll know what I'm talking about. But this is a strong, strong woman of Puerto Rican and Cuban descent. And I got to tell you, when you think about people that will do a good job in Trenton, and yes, Crystal and I don't agree on everything, and that's fine. We're grown adults. We can agree to disagree. But you think Ravi Bala, Mr. Progressive, Mr. I'd rather focus on pronouns in Hoboken than, I don't know, more important things like public safety, so Hoboken residents aren't getting assaulted in broad daylight? Or, property taxes, so like lifelong Hoboken residents aren't priced out of their homes and have to leave Hoboken, right? Or, again, raising property tax is 16% since he took office in January of 2018. Oh, but we got to make sure that Hoboken's a sanctuary city because that's really important. Or having more rats in Hoboken. Not necessarily the rodents that are a public health hazard to our seniors and kids. No, it's increasing staffing at City Hall by 50%. Those are the rats I'm talking about. All his friends he's giving patronage jobs to. Those are the people that deserve to be elected to office? No, they don't, folks. Okay? Or Katie Brennan, another insufferable virtue signaler and feminist that, quite frankly, at the end of the day, what does she have to run on? Well, you decide for yourself. But in the 32nd Legislative District, you have choices. You have Crystal Fonseca. And in the 31st Legislative District, well, hey, you have former Seton Hall University standout in basketball and current county commissioner, Jerry Walker. And we're not sure if Jerry Walker is going to, win that race coming up on June 10th and be the candidate for the Democrat Party coming up in the general election on November the 4th. But if he wins or comes close, if I were Angela McKnight, the state senator in the 31st Legislative District, I'd be scared shitless because Jerry's coming for you one way or the other in 2027. So, folks, those are my picks coming up on June the 10th. And, of course, there's plenty of places to go vote early during this election season. And that's our show for this week. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I cannot say it enough. With the level of dishonesty that the establishment media here in New Jersey engages in on a daily basis, it's easy to get disillusioned and just lose all faith in media. But you don't have to do that because you can start right here with the leader in independent media right here in Hudson County, the Hudson Media Group. Every week we're bringing you compelling conversations, interesting dialogues, and of course, discussing the topics that matter most to you. Not all the woke bullshit, not identitarian politics, not the idea we have to keep coddling illegals in New Jersey. No, folks. It's about the issues that matter most to you. And we'll continue doing that here at the Hudson Media Group. Of course, every Wednesday, you can rely on John Highness, the editor of the Hudson County View, with his show, Hudson County View Live, as well as Stick at Night with Hudson County Commissioner Anthony Romano, or the great content brought to you by Greta Hernandez representing the North Bergen School District. Folks, there's a lot of choices out there when it comes to consuming media. And quite frankly, a lot of them suck. But you know who doesn't? The Hudson Media Group. So I hope you continue tuning in as we'll continue being the leaders in independent media right here in Hudson County. And again, folks, you know what? We're working hard for you, and we appreciate your support throughout all these years. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, always remember, if it's unbiased, unfiltered, and unafraid, it's talking politics right here with the Hudson Media Group. And yes, I am the generational talent in Garden State Media because, folks, I'm the hero you need right now more than ever, as the establishment media continues to lie to you and be dishonest. But guess who never will be? That's right, me, Fernando Uribe. I appreciate you tuning in here, and always remember to make sure you like us on Facebook. Of course, subscribe to the Hudson Media Group on YouTube. It takes 5 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. I've actually done it. Like, comment, share, and click the subscribe button there. You'll be automatically notified of all the great content we bring you every single week. Of course, don't forget to follow us on Instagram and X. We always welcome your comments and questions. And if you have topics that maybe we haven't covered yet, do me a favor, write to us and let us know what you think we should be covering during this election cycle. Not just leading up to primary day, but leading up to the general election coming up this November the 4th. A lot's riding on this election, folks, coming up in November. We'll pick a new governor. And folks, again, if you care about property taxes, the cost of living, affordability, then we have choices to make on November the 4th. But if you care about coddling illegals and woke bullshit and pronouns, and coddling the never-ending alphabet mob, and well, then I know where you stand. But folks, we have choices to make. If we want to make New Jersey a better state to live in, we better act fast. This November, we have choices. I'm Fernando Uribe, folks. Thank you so much for watching.